What's up? Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about something a little controversial of how to know if you should leave your salon. So, stay tuned. Alright guys, this video might be a little uncomfortable for some people because it could be a controversial topic of whether or not you should leave your salon. But the reason why I'm creating this video is because not only have I gone through this in my own journey, but I get DMs asking about this all the time. And I wanted to make sure to create a video for you if you've been feeling like maybe you should leave your salon or maybe it's time to find somewhere new. And so I wanted to make sure that I'm asking you the right questions, things to consider, and maybe if you're not really super stoked on where you're at, how to find somewhere new that you're gonna love. So I think that this video is gonna be really helpful, and I'm okay with feeling a little awkward today. But before we dive into this video, if this is our first time hanging out, my name is Jamie Dana and I help other hairstylists have successful businesses they absolutely love. And my goal for you is to create a career that you love. And obviously your salon and where you work, your work environment is a huge, huge part of that. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that I created this video, because it's not something that anybody ever talks about, and I wanted there to be a resource for you if you've been feeling kind of lost, frustrated, or just overwhelmed. So if you haven't watched my journey video, I highly would encourage you to watch that one. I'll link it in the description box below because it really walks through my entire journey as a hairstylist. And one of the things that was part of my journey 5 years ago was I was asking myself this exact question. Should I leave my salon? And if I do leave my salon, am I ready to leave? Where should I go? What should I do? Am I making the wrong choice? And so again, I think that this topic is so important because it's usually a question that we face at least one time in our career, if not more than once, because chances are you're not going to spend your entire career at the exact same place. As you grow and evolve as a stylist, your environment needs to grow and evolve too. And unfortunately, I see so many stylists stay in situations that are unfortunately toxic or negative environments, and ultimately they end up hating their job or hating their career because their work environment is not a productive place. And so I just wanted to shed some light on this topic. Like I said, if you've been feeling that way, I hope that this video really helps you. So first, let's start with some questions to ask yourself. So the first question might seem obvious, but are you happy at your salon? And if you're not happy, I want you to really pinpoint and ask yourself, why am I not happy? Sometimes it can be things that we absolutely can change. So if you're thinking through your workday and you're thinking, I'm just not very happy with my job, or I'm not really happy with my salon, really figure out exactly what is not making you happy. For instance, if it's your clients, that isn't necessarily something that the salon is affecting. That might be something that you need to change. Maybe it's the way that you book your clients or the type of clients that you bring on, or maybe you need to fire a couple clients. We can do a whole nother video about that kind of topic. But if it comes down to your clientele, that might not necessarily be something about the salon. You might just be unhappy with your career that you built for yourself. So really get clear on why you're unhappy. Now, maybe it's your boss or your manager, or maybe it's your coworkers. Maybe it's a negative environment where people are complaining all the time, or gossiping in the back room, or talking behind each other's back. That would be something that would be considered a toxic environment, and chances are you've probably tried to fix it or say something or maybe mitigate those situations in the past. And if you're watching this video and you might be asking yourself, should I leave my salon? Chances are you've already tried something and it hasn't really worked. And so if you feel like you're unhappy because of those circumstances, your coworkers, your boss, your manager, and you've tried things in the past that haven't really worked, then chances are you might be ready to look for a new place. So like I mentioned before, there are going to be some things with your career and in your salon that you can change. For instance, the type of clients that you bring in, or maybe even your schedule, or whatever that might look like. Maybe it's your station and keeping it clean. There might be just certain things that you can control. Well, there's gonna be other things that are outside of your control. So a lot of salons have different systems and structures in the way that they do pay, or your schedule, or whatever that might look like. And so I want you to know that if you work at a salon that has a particular structure or system of how they do things, you may not fit into that, and not every stylist is gonna fit into a particular type of structure. So some salons are really structured and they have these different rank things, and I don't know, there's a lot of different things out there, but that may not be right for you. You might need something that's a little bit less structured. Or maybe on the flip side, there's no structure at all and everybody just kind of does their own thing, and maybe for you, you need some structure. So you might need to find a place that has that. So I want you to know that if you're feeling like you might need to move on from your salon and it's kind of based off of the different structures that you have, maybe it's too structured or not structured enough, or you're looking for something just different, that's okay, because not every system or structure is gonna work for every stylist. And I want you to know that that's not anything wrong to feel. I also want you to know that if you're working in a toxic environment, maybe you're being bullied, or you're not getting the education that you were promised, or whatever that case might look like, that if you're feeling like you need to move on, or it's not healthy for your mental sanity or your emotional state, chances are you probably work in a toxic environment and probably it's time to leave. I'll be honest, when I was in a salon, I had a coworker who was not nice to me. Some days they would be nice and friendly, and other days they would like bully me or say really passive aggressive things and just be very mean in front of my clients. And it wasn't until the point that that stylist ended up leaving that my salon life got better. And it was to the point where I was about ready to leave because this particular stylist was just not a healthy person, and they took their unhealthiness out on me. And in that instance, I was in a toxic environment. And it also got to another point in my career where I was at the same salon and just there was a lot of negative energy in the air. The boss was really passive aggressive. My coworkers were just really negative and gossipy and complaining all the time. And it really started to wear down on me. I talked more about this in my journey video that I linked down below. But at that point, I was just in a toxic environment and things weren't gonna change. Like I said, you might have tried doing different things to fix the situation or to bring it up to management. And at the end of the day, if the negativity is coming from the top or it's just so widespread, chances are things aren't gonna get better, and it is probably time for you to move on. And so I was in that same position, probably where you're at, and it's not a fun place to be because it's scary. You walk into work every single day where you just don't feel comfortable or you don't feel secure or you're wondering what's gonna happen. And at the end of the day, our goal as a hairstylist is to make our clients' lives better. And if we have all this other stuff happening around us, we can't really do our job to the best of our abilities, and we need to be in a healthy mental state, an emotional state, to be able to pour back into our clients. And if we're not doing that for ourselves, then our clients aren't getting the best of us and we're not showing up for them in the best way that we need to be. And so if you've been feeling that, or if you're resonating with any of this, chances are it's probably time for you to move on and to find somewhere that you will feel safe, that you will feel taken care of, valued, because you are an amazing human being, you're an amazing stylist, and I don't want you to be working in a place where you don't feel like that, because you are incredible. So now that you've kind of nailed down what is making you unhappy with your current salon environment, the second question that I want you to ask yourself is, if you were to eliminate fill in the blank, whatever that might be, how would you feel? I think nailing down that particular thing that is making us unhappy can really help us take control. I think so often, especially when it comes to being a newer stylist, or maybe you've worked somewhere for so long and you feel like you have to stay because you have to stay loyal, or you've always been loyal, or you don't know where to go. So often we can feel trapped in our situation and in our circumstances. And that's why this question is so important, because it helps us take control of that situation. Because at the end of the day, you as a stylist and as a human being, you have control and you can make a choice to leave. No matter what anybody else is telling you, if they're telling you you can't leave, or maybe they're manipulating you in this situation, saying you can't leave or you can't go anywhere else, or we're gonna slander you, or we're gonna take your clients, or whatever the case may be. I know that there's a lot of tricky situations and there's a lot of layers to this topic, and I'm just barely scratching the surface. But I want you to know that you as a human being have a choice, and you can choose to move on if you need to do so. So I hope that this question of how would that make you feel really helps you gain a little bit more control over the situation and allows you to know that you can do what you need to do. And the third question that I want you to ask yourself is, what are the things that you would love to have in a new salon? So I want you to take some time to really write these things down. What are you looking for? Maybe it's different values, maybe it's the family aspect, maybe it's education or different types of amenities. Maybe it's tangible things or intangible things. But I want you to make a list of all of the things that are really important to you, things that you're maybe not getting at your current salon, and write them down of what are your non-negotiables and maybe what are some things that you would just love to have as a stylist at your new salon. So make that list, and as we get into the next part, that list is going to be really, really important so that you can weigh the different salons, weigh your different options to make sure that you're not moving from one situation that's maybe not so great into another situation that's not so great. This is really, really important for you to get clear on exactly what you're looking for so that you can move and find the right place that is right for you. All right, so now that we've asked those questions, you might be feeling like, okay, it is time for me to move on. I've made that decision. So now let's talk about starting the hunt. How do I find a new salon home? Now, some of you might already have a place in mind of somewhere down the street or in a new city or whatever the case might be. You might have your eye on those different places. But for some of you, you might feel trapped, like you don't have anywhere to go. So what I would recommend is go on Google, get on Yelp, and get on Instagram. Start looking at the salons in your area, and don't just look at them from a beautiful picture perspective. Yes, obviously we're looking for a cute salon that is fun, that fits your style, but sometimes the salons that have the most pretty pictures don't necessarily have the best internal salon team or dynamic, or it could be another toxic environment. So it's really important to get really clear on, again, that list of what you're looking for and look a little bit deeper than just the photos on Google, Yelp, their website, or Instagram. Then once you've done your search and maybe narrowed down some of the salons in your area, I want you to go against your list. Does it have some of those amenities that you were looking for? And then for some of those intangible things like team culture or family environment or not a unhealthy environment, you're gonna have to go into the salon. So what I would recommend is either going into the salon, introducing yourself to the owner, meeting some of the other stylists, the staff, the receptionists, the assistants, whoever works there. I would go in and introduce yourself. Maybe you just pop in on a random busy day, or maybe you reach out to them on Instagram and set up an appointment. Find out if they're hiring or if they have spaces available for you to rent. Again, I understand that this topic is a much deeper layer because what you might be looking for, they might not be hiring or whatever the case might be, but you really want to go interview these salons and get a feel for the salon environment, because again, you would hate to go from a not so great environment to another not so great environment because you didn't do your research properly. And one thing I will say is there's probably never going to be a perfect salon. There might not be a salon that hits every single thing on your list, but at the end of the day, that's why it's really important to get clear on what are your non-negotiables on that list. Again, a healthy environment for you. A toxic, negative energy, a place where people are rude or mean or putting you down, bullying you, that is not okay. And if you're in a situation like that, you need to leave. And the reason why I feel like I'm so passionate in this video, probably different than a lot of my other YouTube videos you guys have seen, is because I have been in that place and I've seen so many stylists. I've heard thousands upon thousands of stylists' stories who have been in places like that where they're in a negative, toxic environment that I don't need to go into all the details, but ultimately it was time for them to move on and find a place where they would be taken care of and seen. And so if you're feeling like that, I know I've mentioned it a few times in this video, but I really want you to hit home that you can leave, you do have options, and you're not stuck where you're at, but make sure that you're doing your research so that you don't go into a situation that isn't 100% what you're looking for. And the last thing that I want to say is don't wait. I know that this whole entire thing can be so scary, so nerve-wracking. Again, there's so many different layers and emotions to this entire topic, and so I know that sometimes this isn't easy, and I don't want you to just wait and stay in that bad environment and put off looking or put off trying to find a new space because you're afraid. Ultimately, you have the decision to make, and you can make a choice to leave and find a better situation for you, your business, and your clients, because ultimately I want you to have a career you absolutely love, and having a salon environment that you're thriving in is so important to that. It can severely affect so many different things. And so I hope that this video was helpful for you. I know it's different than what I normally do here on YouTube, but I really wanted to share this with you guys because, again, I feel so near and dear to it, to my own journey, but I also wanted to create this for you if you've been feeling that way. So as always, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button to my videos, go ahead and do so now. I do lots of different types of videos, business advice, tips, and lots of different hair technique videos. So if this is your first time stumbling onto my channel, welcome, but please hit the subscribe button because you're gonna have a lot of other videos coming your way. And the last thing that I wanna say, if we haven't connected over on Instagram, go ahead and send me a DM. Let me know that you watched this video, and I cannot wait to hear more from you and to connect with you over there, because Instagram is where I hang out all the time. And I'm over here on YouTube once a week, but Instagram, I'm over there every day, and I want to connect with you more on a regular basis, so please come over to Instagram and say hi. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope that this gave you the confidence and the power to do what you need to do so that you have a happy and healthy career as a hairstylist, because ultimately, that's all I want for you. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.